kind of like a lot of times, this looks too fat. It's like where should this is a tip of the chin, kind of behind the tip of the chin usually. So usually where it is.
Well, it is a more forward perspective than it's not straight on, but it's mostly forward perspective. So you could maybe not have the back neckline line up directly with the back of the headline.
I see what you're saying.
That way you can get the neck a little more forward without making the neck too fat.
That sort of, yeah, I'm liking that. Pop the legs down. This is all just rough sketches, sort of. I think one leg should be down. This, and I'm trying to lay it out, sort of, because I'm wanting to. So, if you haven't heard, for all of you guys, I'm trying to get all of them to fit on this missile right here. And what my idea is, kind of like, if you've ever seen pinups on bombers and stuff like that, they have like the hot girl or whatever laying on the or something like that. And I've always kind of, it was, funny. So I wanted to try to do all of them together on the which is a little bit of a callback and kind of a joke. But I know this drawing is going to take like a month, because I take so long on one character, and we just have 8 of them. Yeah, that's a great idea. Great idea, Nate. Put them all together.
It makes you practice your composition, though, so it's all for the good.
Oh, yes. I will get many an hour of practice. I think they're all different. Like, everything I'm, like, touching on. Like, this rarity thing right here, I'm not liking it, but for now we're dealing with it. I've kind of given up on her eyes, too. Kind of like that, sort of, I guess. Then you're like, looks weird. Kind of. Should she just be closing her eyes, you think?
I honestly thought that's what she was doing before you drew eyeballs on it.
I ruined it all.
Yeah, it was hard to tell.
Maybe the shading, because she has like eyeshadow. That might help. Like that.
Hello, welcome to Yoda Soda Creations, the podcast. 2 head businesses and friends, in this case, get together, talk movies, TV. Well, get together, talk movies, TV, and relate all the recent. Well, Christmas and the New Year coming on, and as you can probably tell, a lot of us are feeling the post-Christmas blues. I mean, a month of waiting for stuff on the wishlist, and highlights I can pinpoint are Three Finders Keepers and Funko Pop Knight Rider.
Huh.
Kind of at what did you guys get for Christmas? I'm kind of at the stage where big thing.
I got some Thomas minis, some Thomas Wood items, the Lighthouse minifigure 8-pack, got a Los Pet Shop 8-pack.
You need a bank, dude.
What? Luna. Also got. It's got the Thomas Adventure, Thomas and Ace the Racer. Got a few cool stuff there. Definitely cool stuff. What was that Lego Aerial Celebration set? And yeah, it's pretty good. Plus some Powerpuff Girls things, yeah. Place that, yeah. It's all pretty cool stuff. Cool. Hoping to get more Mile Point blind bag figures if I can find them.
They're kind of rare.
Let's start with what first.
Oh, shit.
That's I can fly here. There's a flying
Control T.
Anyway.
I'm still learning Photoshop, so if I'm a new and you have a point to make, please just make it. Don't hurt my feelings. You won't hurt my feelings, I mean. Kind of an idiot. It's like, yep. How did I not see that? I've gone like months without like, you know, like getting around a problem. And then like one day I'm like, oh, this button does that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how did I not notice that? I just would rather you make fun of me right now if you see something wrong. Trying to decide what to do. Let's just pop it. Where do you think? Kind of right. It's gonna mess up Pinkie Pie's bottom if I do that there. Control D or Enter. Control D. Okay. Maybe if I don't select that little line, I don't need that line. I don't line either. Oh, it actually works like that? Huh. Anyways, continue. Sorry, I'm butting in and out.
Well, first off, I'd like to introduce a newcomer, Drama TV Show Fan 1001.
There's 20 cats meowing.
And secondly, we can finally get to something that I've been trying to orchestrate. It's taken trying to orchestrate. There had to be a one. Trying to orchestrate had to be pushed back by at least a week. But we're doing our first interview today.
Awesome. Do you have questions prepared? I didn't prepare like that. I'm the artist. I just sit here and draw.
Well, I'm pretty sure Colin will have something. But before I can, I didn't
even. Oh, go ahead.
I'm pretty sure Colin has something. But before I can get things started, I better introduce our special guest for tonight. Author of Past Ends and Winter Bells, which we covered previously, Penstroke.
Hello, thanks for having me.
A pleasure. That looked good to you guys about there? She needs a bit of bits.
The right foreleg I can't see connecting with the rocket.
Right foreleg. Ah, yes. See that. Maybe a bit down.
It's interesting you're drawing them off the rocket and then trying to position them on. Are you doing a separate layer for each character?
Not yet. I will be doing. This is just a pre-stage of me trying to figure out. I'm just laying them out right now, right? So everything is subtle to change, right? Like I'm gonna have hundreds of layers probably by the end of this, but I'm trying to get all the sketches on one layer. You know what I mean?
I would do a layer group personally. That way you can turn them all on and off at the same time, but still have the joys of layers.
Look at that. Can you add a selection to a layer group?
Well, no. Go to your layers tab.
Yeah, here it is.
Hit the fold icon.
Hang on, let me hit enter. Okay. Folder. Yep, this one.
There, you have a layer group, and so you can drop layers in that, and then it'll control everything beneath it.
Look at that. Can we? Okay.
So then do a new layer, which is the one over on
the. Yeah.
And now you have a layer in the group. Copy paste your whoever that is, probably Twilight.
Yeah. What's that wingjet?
I think you control Z'd.
I control Z'd. Control C'd. Oh. Could not complete copy command.
You got to copy while you have your current layer selected.
Ah, you see? Look at that. There we go. There we go. We're learning things, guys.
We're in progress.
Progress, guys. Let's put Twilight under. No, that wouldn't make any sense. Post it all you wouldn't see her.
But yeah, I don't actually have any questions set like or anything, because I actually looked back through the chat, and I don't believe you ever actually mentioned who you were going to be interviewing.
That would be funny.
I mean, given the things you've been going over, I probably should have expected this, but yeah.
Like I said, I had a big hustle trying to get him. Yeah.
We're all busy. I, for one, have just started school up again. Yikes. Should I delete this Twilight? This is going to hurt me. I guess I can.
Why are you deleting it that way?
Because I want the long and painful way.
You already had her. You already had her selected.
This is the most painful way. I gotta do it.
I don't feel so good.
I don't feel so good. Where's it? Oh. You want it this way? That's... Oh.
Don't make her suffer.
We got Phil.
Make it quick and painless.
What am I doing? Did I just corrupt my file? Oh my gosh. What did I fill? I hit delete, not fill. Does it fill it with white?
That's what deleting technically is, yes.
Not usually. Usually it just erases it.
It erases to the background color, or if you have a transparent layer, it erases it to transparent, which is still technically a color in the computer's brain. You don't. Erasing is a myth.
It's a myth. It's a conspiracy. Oh, I've done it now. What even is that? What is that?
Yeah, it's the same way I give you use white. You can technically say you've erased something on the paper.
You just covered it, basically.
Exactly. Same thing with this. It's not erasing. It's just covering with white again.
Okay. Okay. Good enough for me. That hurts, and it makes you all happier for some reason. I don't know why you make. I've done nothing wrong. Hi, Pinky. Hi. Getting right up on you. You've given me too much power. I if I can move objects. See, what is that? There's gonna be so many errors. Done. This is to make fun of Nathan on stream, basically. Stupid man doesn't know how to use Photoshop. I opened this up and I'm like, it presents me, would you like a tutorial? And it's like, yeah, sure, I'd like that. You get in and it's like, this is how you use a paintbrush tool. And it's like, okay, that's cool. This is how you use fill. All right, you're good. And I'm like, what? We covered like 2 of these buttons. It's like, yep, that's good. You know how to use Photoshop now, guys. Off into the world you go. Go on. Get out of there. There we go. See, her haunch is. I'll have her over the edge like this, kind of like that. Wow.
Yeah, of course the help section only helps a few things. You need to pay for the advanced tutorial DLC.
No, what am I thinking, to be honest? There we go! Wow! We're getting somewhere, guys.
Starting to think I should have dropped the hands. Anyway, the way this is gonna work is that I'm gonna do a question, then I pass it off to Nate. He'll do a question, pass it off to Colin, and then pass it to Colin, his question, then pass to John, his question, then it'll come back to me. John, I suggest since Penn here is not influential in Tom's the Tank or whatever, I suggest you limit to pony show related questions.
Yes, only on topic stuff, obviously.
And I have a good feeling you've been reading his stuff also, so yeah.
We're gonna all gang up on him. That's the. Yeah, let's get him. No.
I should probably think of some questions.
Yeah, I gotta think of a question and draw at the same time. Competently. I mean, I could draw like here's Starlight. She's got a bigger chin than you remember.
We'll get this something with it. We'll get this started with something related to the coming year. Is Penstroke coming back to Everfree Northwest? Because I purchased a 3rd edition print to give to Dr. Wolf, and if we make it extra special if he was there to sign it.
I am afraid that the only convention I'm currently planning to attend this year is the last BronyCon, just because that's more convenient to some of the other folks I'm trying to see in the fandom. That, and I'm trying to participate in Aquaman, in the vendor hall fanfiction library bookstore that Aquaman is trying to put together. Don't know if it's going to pan out yet, because that's all up to the BronyCon committees and peoples and whatnot, but I know those gears are in motion.
Makes sense.
I'll need to run it by my folks, but yeah, going to BronyCon this time around is a major consideration in this group.
Yeah, I'm going to try to get to it. I don't know if I can. It's a lot of money for a flight, and I can't drive. We can't drive there in time, or at least if I had to drive, it would take a week to get there. I mean, I could do it in 2 days if I wanted to, but I would be dead once I got there. So
that's when you need the carpool.
What am I thinking? Push. I guess I need enough friends that know how to drive and can legally do so. I mean, a lot of people can drive. Doesn't mean they should.
I love Truman so much.
Anyways,
so Nate, your turn.
So you're one of the only people I've read actually on one of the only fan fictions I've ever read actually. So I liked the pacing was quite nice and all of that. How would you say you would write something like that? I know this is a kind of a common question, but I've always kind of wanted to try doing that. Making up characters probably one of the harder things I have trouble with, because I usually like to use them for other plays, which is very creative and kind of boring. How would you say you created new characters? Did you have a process of naming them, and would you go from naming to creating them, or would you create them and then name them?
Well, that's kind of a you have to learn what your own poison is. In just like not everyone's gonna like the same things. Not everyone creates in the same manner. So it's like, for me, it definitely doesn't just start with a name and go out. It kind of starts with a blobby essence of what I'm going for, and that's kind of gains it. Like for Past Sins, of course, there was Nyx, who is kind of had at least a little kind of pre-exploration from one of my other stories, which was Haunting Nightmare, where there was an actual, another variation of Nyx in there. Creeping Darkness, yes, sorry. I am mixing up my horror stories.
They scarred you. You scarred yourself. You played yourself. No.
But
I know it's a complex.
It kind of, for me, it usually comes down to having some of the cornerstone traits for a character. Someone just disconnected, and they're back. And
I'm back.
Finding out the cornerstone traits for a character, and you can kind of see that a bit in My Little Pony, where there are heck, the elements of harmony represent cornerstone traits for each of the main six that helps define their character between the kindness, the honesty, the loyalty, generosity, blah blah blah. And then but then it's like Rarity is like fashion minded. It's like that fleshes out a lot of her personality just in those couple words. Is like, oh, she's one that would know what hat you should wear, and da la 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 la. Or with Applejack, it's the farmer. It's like generally hardworking. You can insinuate even family oriented or overworked from that.
Overworked. That's a character trait.
Well, it's something you can figure out from the character cornerstone of she is a farmer character.
Yeah, and they're always have to work for their livelihood, I guess. Yeah, it's an interesting outlook. I haven't thought of that. Kind of giving them a role can flesh out some of the work you're saying, basically.
Yeah, basically, like even if you say, like, Rarity works at Pinkie Pie works at Sugar Cube Corner. Even knowing that one fact of what her job is, you can then you have to then start answering questions of, does she like her job? How well does she? How good is she at her job? What does her job entail? It's kind of a domino effect where if you answer one question, you can start to answer a bunch of others. Something that came out from a panel run by Wanderer D at last BronyCon when it come to like starting and figuring out a story was the 5-question principle, which I actually talked about recently on a written interview. And the idea is you ask a question, and you give an answer, and you alternate between giving serious and silly answers. And in 5 questions, you'll generally have a concept for a story that you can begin building on, kind of the first floorboards.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
For example, if we were to play the game right now, is why is serious answer first? Why is Sugar Cube Corner on fire?
Fireworks in the basement.
Okay, that's a good serious answer. There was some fireworks stored in the party cave, which we all know exist.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's even canon. Yeah.
Next question for Silly. How did they get caught on fire?
A young colt was blowing out a candle, and one of the ashes fell through the floorboards.
Delightfully silly. Okay, serious answer question time. How does that colt feel about the fire?
So this is a serious one?
Mm-hmm.
Dang it, I came up with a funny one. He has always liked fireworks and has thought of it maybe as his cutie mark, maybe. Maybe he gets it from it.
Pyromaniac cutie mark. All right.
Yes, it all lines up. Wow.
Okay. Silly question answer time. What happens after he gets his cutie mark in being a pyromaniac?
Ooh. He gets permanently smudged from the ash of the burning sugar cube. Corner.
Okay, so he's got cutie marks and he's got fur discolorations, making him
Yes.
look interesting. All right, and final question. What's a good final question? How does Pinkie Pie take this?
Ooh. And this is a serious again?
Mm-hmm. Or what does Pinkie Pie think of the cult after all this? Kind of.
Aha. She will remember to look out for him in the future.
And ta-da! It is the very beginnings of what could be considered a short story. And of course, if you're trying to build something larger, you can start getting into more and more questions. that kind of help lead you down the path of your own story.
I copyright that. That's a good one. I'll use that one in my first. Maybe I will. That'd be actually funny. That came out pretty good. One quick last question, 'cause I like that. Was there any influencing books that you went into? Any big series that you like that might have helped you?
I honestly don't read as much as I should. But book series that I know I've read and liked, like I've read some of the classic fantasies like Lord of the Rings and Sword of Shannara. Though I rage quit Sword of Shannara after the second book because I did not like how that turned out. It was shipping, and then they ripped out my heart.
I have not read that. I literally got a couple chapters in on my audiobook, right? And then got bored because I thought it was just Lord of the Rings.
It's like it definitely has some similarities, but it's also, if you don't, do you mind spoilers?
I don't know. I don't really care.
It's super minor. It's super minor backstory thing.
Go for it.
But it throws a wild card in there that it's post-apocalyptic.
Okay.
Like they're at one point they're traipsing through ruins of skyscrapers.
That's kind of cool.
So that definitely tosses an interesting thing into it.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting twist.
That might get me to read it again. I've run out of books. I do audiobooks, to be honest. Do you do that? Or have you ever tried one?
I tend to do audiobooks when I have a long drive ahead of me. The last one I had, I'll have to look it up, but it was a story about spiders. That was sci-fi.
Speeders?
Spiders, yes.
Spiders! Ah, shoot.
Where is? Oh no, I have that under Audacity. I forget what its title is, but basically, that whole story, which was very interesting, but it kind of made me mad a little bit in the middle just because, oh my god, you're just toying with me, author, but it came around to it. But the whole story is you're pretty advanced sci-fi where the human race has the technology to terraform worlds. Your story starts with the first one that was ever terraformed, and the character who is kind of the leader of that research project is wanting to seed the world with monkeys, and also while infecting them with a nanovirus to accelerate their evolution. That shit hits the fan.
Gee,
and the monkeys burn up on re-entry because of traitorous malarkey flarkey, and so this terraform planet gets the nanovirus on it, but eventually it discovers a species of spider and starts rapidly evolving them, and so it's half of the book is looking at the human society in a again post-apocalyptic, just because it's such an easy thing to do, post-apocalyptic. Where an arc of survivors are kind of traveling through space trying to get away from the dying Earth because the traitor who destroyed the monkeys was only like the small variation of the great amount of war that was going on Earth.
This is a complicated backstory.
Yeah, but so half the story is following this kind of arc ship of survivors as they try to find a home and then eventually kind of start heading towards the terraformed planet they discover. While the other half is watching this spider society evolve, and kind of like have this author kind of build world building around like how would spiders think differently or do things differently. Like they make computers out of ant colonies.
What?
They make computers and like calculating machines by breeding ant colonies in such a way that they can be manipulated using pheromones.
Holy smokes, this is complicated.
They talk through tapping. They talk through body language and tapping their feet on webs.
Yes. Like a bee or something, right? Like
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I want to find the name of this book, but I also didn't want to hold up the discussion of me.
No, it's interesting.
Oh my! I bet actually, I don't know why I'm trying to look this up on my computer. My phone will probably be able to
Come to
provide
the
it.
rescue.
Yes, maybe.
This will be Twilight layer, by the way. See, we're learning new things with friends. This one will be okay. Who's next in the missile line? By the way, so we got Pinkie Pie at the front. We got Twilight next. I'm thinking maybe Starlight here with her getting her the wings in her face, maybe something like that.
The moment you said that, I imaged it in my mind. It's like, okay, that's kind of funny.
So I might do that. Okay, they're sitting together, and then we might have to do a bit of fan shipping and put Applejack right next to Rarity. I don't know what they'll be doing. Maybe she'll just be so nonchalant about it. She'll just be playing like Jenga or something. Just doesn't notice.
Where's Fluttershy?
Fluttershy, I think, will be above. What?
That's impressive, playing Jenga on a rocket.
She just doesn't care. You know, she's seen worse. She's like, whatever. It would be kind of funny because then we would have Rarity like fawning and, you know, passed out, where Applejack just like, whatever. But we've been here before. We'll get out of it. I think, should we put, like, I was wanting to add, like, a crayon under Pinkie Pie's, like, poof, and, like, her, like maybe a mustache on the missile that she drew. What do you think? Is that a good idea?
I like it.
This is a stand-in crayon, but here's the crayon right there. And we'll do, like, a little mustache. It should have a curly Q. Yes. Okay.
It's an evil rocket. Can't you tell by the mustache?
I could totally see Pinkie Pie doing that, actually.
Definitely a Pinkie Pie move.
Yes.
And then it will run out of gas and stop dead in the air.
Yes, like a Looney Tunes. It'll just go and just stop. I love that scene where he's in a house, I think, falling off a cliff. Or was it Roadrunner or something? And he just, like, right before the house hits the ground, he steps out of it. And the house, like, smashes into the ground, but he just, like, walks out of it. And for a long time, I'm like, wait, is that possible? Like, as a kid, I'm like, wait, what? Why don't you just jump out of it? Like, what? I didn't understand how, like, physics worked or something. I just, like, blew my mind.
Also, that book I was talking about is Adrian Tchaikovsky's Children of Time.
Oh, right there.
I will Discord the actual spelling of that author name because it is just
Nice
a soup of consonants.
Oh, jeez. I see that on my little notification. That's pretty nuts. Here. Oh, I gotta name this layer. It's all. This one's gonna be Starlight's layer. Starlight and mustache. I don't want it. I spelled it wrong. Mustache. Yep, we're leaving it there because I don't know how to spell it. And I'll. Because I think. Yep, the mustache is on that layer. I knew it. Dang it. I always forget which layer I'm drawing on.
I gotta go. Okay, guys. See ya.
Oh no. He died.
Oh no!
Well, at least we got him for the first 30 minutes. That's...
Yeah. In hindsight, we probably should have had him ask the question. Yeah. I'll draw him a little grave.
Anyway, Cullen, I think you had a question regarding the antagonists.
I did?
You always seem to question them. You always seem to question the outcome every single time. You seem to question the outcome every single time.
I honestly don't remember.
I think you and me both kind of had a. We were kind of like. It felt like the end was a bit of a maybe it was rewritten once. Is that kind of what we said? Like it felt like I didn't see the end going where. Not to say that I wanted it to be predictable, but I don't know. Does that make sense?
Kind of.
I have sometimes trouble wording what I mean.
Hey, did I save my notes?
Well, that's a true question. I guess this layer should be under. Yeah.
Well, I think with regards to build up, followed by well, for the time it seemed to be interesting, but then
I think I vaguely remember, or I think when we were talking about past sins, that in the end it being like, oh no, they were just all mind controlled or whatever, under the influence of something else.
Well, yeah.
It's like, I don't know.
Sometimes that. I don't know how I felt about that. It was like. It was an okay decision. Why did you make that choice, Mr.
Well, that was always kind of my thought from the beginning.
Okay, it was a long time.
It was just because of the simple fact that it became kind of the reason why in the ever happy land of Equestria there would be a secret cult. If Patsons does, despite some of its more mature concepts, does try to sit closer to the show's lore than other things I write, like Wise Beyond Her Years, that would never be canon, but Past Sins, it's like it's canon approximate. It tries not to shake the boat too much on key concepts like this is the wonderful world of Equestria where 99% of the population is pretty darn happy with how things are.
Yeah.
But it provided the Deus Ex of, or not Deus Ex, but the common seed that Luna's jealousy is still the source cause of everything. That anger, that jealousy, just was so strong that it first turned her into Nightmare Moon, or drove her to do whatever she did to turn into Nightmare Moon, and then B stuck around and still tried to enact its will of what it was doing through Spell Nexus's failed experiments. Or failed spells.
Right.
So those influences kind of, so you're saying like they like sin zero or whatever, kind of like that first sin was kind of like everything that led to this.
Yeah, and in a way, it's definitely kind of a patient zero thing where that one thing that drove Luna to that was very powerful, very strong, a very raw emotion of jealousy and hatred for her sister and all the ponies of Equestria, to the point she was willing to doom them all, possibly in an ill-conceived thing of it'll be night forever, everything will die.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that bit.
Yeah. But it also provided a means for why the cult was in particular very devoted to Nightmare Moon specifically. In that it's like, oh, it isn't just we hate Celestia and we want to overthrow the government. It's like, no, it was her specifically they wanted.
We want you. Okay, yeah, that's cool.
I want chocolate, not vanilla.
Dang it.
It's not that I just don't want vanilla, I want chocolate.
I will fight. I will end you over this. I will go to the
But
grave.
at the same time, there's definitely arguments to be made that it may have been a better story to some people if that wasn't what happened. But everyone is open to. It's like that's the beauty of our world. Everyone can have their likes, dislikes, and their personal opinions. So
Never want anything equal.
That's understandable. Like back in 2012, the idea that there'd be an actual cult in Equestria seems like it'd be kind of out there. And then we get season 5.
Oh yes.
The communist season.
yeah, so that is the other bit of context is that that was written with season 2, originally written with season 1 context. When it went to its first printing edition, I adjusted a few things with the help of the Equestrian Publications guys to make it compatible with season 2, which was mostly just upgrade. The biggest changes was one on how Nyx infiltrated Canterlot, and 2 just upgrading Luna's appearance from the immediately after Elements of Harmony to how she appeared when we saw her again in the Nightmare Nights episode, Lunar Eclipse.
Yeah.
Right after she recharged her batteries.
Basically, or whatever happened.
The animators were like, I don't like that design.
That could have very well been the reason. Who knows?
Probably was, to be honest. It's like maybe the executives thought that they should look more like her thing. She was a lot smaller. The first drawing of her. I just scared myself.
Also, Sweetable and Rarity's parents.
I think so. There's a couple. It's sad that a lot of everything gets outdated.
Yeah, that's just something you have. That is a reality you have to be happy to live with when you're writing fan fiction for a show that's still ongoing. Just nature of the beast. It's like I still have in past sins elusive Rich, or I forget her name, as Diamond Tiara's mother. I got the personality pretty damn close.
Yeah.
But the name it's not spoiled. It's elusive, I think, or exclusive, or it's something with an E.
Spoiled Rich, I think it is, isn't it? Yeah.
That's her canon name. There's a different name in past.
Oh,
sins,
sorry, I didn't. Yeah.
because we didn't have that name. And seriously, her birth name was Spoiled Milk. Who names your kid Spoiled Milk?
I mean, maybe I will, just to prove you wrong.
I'm sure your kid will grow up a well-adjusted member of society.
Well-rounded society, yeah.
I'm sure that no teasing at all will happen.
It's good for the character. What are you talking about? It's good for her. Hopefully it's a her. It's like I don't know. I guess it works for both, doesn't it? It's not really a boy or girl name.
It does not work equally for both.
That's what I mean. Yeah. And you can kind of see do so much more, and that was like the only twist, just like gone in every other section of the whole show. You know what I mean? It was just fell off the face of the earth, sadly. Which is kind of weird. And she didn't... When was the last time we even saw Twist? Was she in the background thing?
Yeah, she's been in the background here or there, but yeah, she has definitely not had a voiced role again.
Is it like...
Wapple.
Is it the voice actor's not there anymore, or is it just...
Oh, no, I'm sure it's just they haven't had a reason.
Yeah, they kind of already have the three, we got a semi-rounded group already with Crusaders, so it's kind of...
Yeah.
I don't know. We're not the writers. You are a writer, but I'm not a...
Colin, you
Huh?
Wait, what was that?
I was about to ask what face Starlight should be making. Should she have one eye wide open, and then one eye, like, squinting really hard? because she's got like feathers in her mouth.
Who is this?
This is supposed to be Starlight, because she's going to be sitting right next to Twilight, and Twilight's got her wings out, and that's going to be like right in her. Just feathers all in her mouth and stuff like that.
I would imagine the instinct would be to have both eyes closed if you're getting smacked in the face with a wing.
I don't know. Should it be in the face or the mouth? If it's in the, like if it's in your eyes.
Well, here's the thing: getting whacked in the mouth with a feather implies getting hit in the face, unless your mouth is somewhere crazy.
We don't talk about that. No. Wait, okay, like maybe like her mouth. What should her mouth be shaped? I don't know. I've always done this squiggly. It's gotta be open. She's gotta be like spitting her tongue out. Oh, this is a learning curve. I'm like actively figuring. So both eyes closed. Do you think? Do that. See what that looks. All right.
Colin, I think I also had something regarding the Winterbells press.
Hold on. Wait, that's the wrong file. What was that again?
He's asking if you had some critiques about the Winterbells as well.
Right.
Which is very topical right now. Well, it was a bit ago. Never mind. It's not top. It won't be topical another year. It's gone all the way around.
Huh. It's like I'm looking through my notes, and it's like I'm trying to. I don't know.
It was regarding the press, wasn't it?
Oh, right, tabloid reporters. Oh, it's like, yep, they're horrible. Though one of them was more reasonable than the other.
That you got the audience to hate them quite nicely.
Yeah, no, those felt more sensible to get them into the natural antagonist role, just because it's like previously for Equestria, it's like if you were a bad villain who took over the world for even a brief moment, you are either stoned, turned to stone, put into TARS, or sent to the moon. So seeing the sudden drop in the punishment level, it was kind of the reasoning in my brain for why some of the reporters were being very pushy about it. And it's like, oh, this is a story that's ready to break. This is A, wrong, and B, this is a career maker. So, it's like it was definitely some passion for like uncovering the truth, and kind of it was like government. It's like it's a tabloid or even just a reporter's dream of it's a big government cover-up, and I'm going to blow it wide open,
right out of the water.
Yeah, but also it's like was the fact that those characters felt something was morally wrong about a villain getting off so easily, because this was also. I don't remember when I wrote Winter Bells. Was that... When was Discord reformed? That was season 3, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think I had it down to like 2018. Here it is. Yeah, late 2012, early 2013.
Yeah, so I can't remember exactly when Winter Bells got written. It may have actually been after that, but still, it's like Discord at that time was the first real reformed villain. Otherwise, everyone else was reformed through general peer pressure of come on, be a good guy, come on.
Yeah.
But everyone else had either been blasted or recaptured or what have you, or Sombra, who just got
melted.
got smited.
He smite thee. I smite thee.
Unless you read the comics.
Yeah, well, no, the comics gave him a second go around for sure. But
Do we speak of those? Those are good, but do they count?
well, they once the shows ends, they'll probably keep going, so they'll count when that happens,
Oh
because
no.
then they will be the primary source. Just
Well, are we getting a Gen 5?
yes, but we don't know how that's going to relate to Gen 4. So
That's true. It sounds like it's right, like a total rewrite.
yeah, no, they may be reusing characters, but at the same, it will. I'm currently very dubious about it being actually linked to our current season. My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic. It's not going to be like Avatar and then Korra, where two very different shows with two very different tones, but they still had that shared world. I would be very surprised if there was a shared world between these two.
The concept art that may or may not be real is not friendly to that.
Yeah.
At all. It's not. It's like, look, it's the same characters. They look a little different. And what do you think of those? By the way, have you seen them?
I have seen those. It's like it's definitely like the characters are probably going to all play the same, but with the soft reset, they'll be able to relearn the same lessons. Yay! But it is kind of interesting to see them swapping up some of the species. With, I think, if I recall correctly, in that concept art, Fluttershy was made a unicorn, while Twilight was an earth pony, and crazy stuff like that.
Yes, that's the big controversy. Is like Twilight's character is kind of revolving around that. She's kind of she's a nerd, I guess. So I guess
yeah, you don't have to be a unicorn to be or an alicorn to be a nerd, but it did kind of represent what Twilight was studying largely.
Yeah.
So then it becomes the question: is if Twilight is not studying to learn and cast unicorn spells, then what is she studying? So there's, of course, a wealth of things to be done, but that does kind of fundamentally change her character a bit.
I have heard the argument, and I don't know if it's an actual argument or if it's from the writers or something, that there's like, so magic works by, in this universe of, like, it's only unicorns, and then other ones kind of have like an essence or whatever, like the Pegasus can fly and they can't fly without, right? Or like we've seen in the latest episode, Pinky got some magic back, sort of. So in some of the leaks or what people are talking about, they think that if every creature has magic, and it's just like unicorns can do different things, but they just have like a different type of magic. You know what I mean? Like maybe earth bunnies can grow stuff like better. Like actually, they can make stuff grow better. You know what I mean?
And if that's the case, then again, that doesn't really change the question of how Twilight is studying. If she's still studying magic, but then she's having to study how to cast it different, or the whatever innate differences are built into it. Like, oh, if it's I put my hooves on the ground and make plants grow, well, that's still, she may be learning spells still, but it's still a very different thing, and she can't be making use of teleportation, for example, or other things to help fix situations.
I could see that helping with the kind of Celestia problem we're having with her now, where she's so powerful, everyone else seems to be more powerful. You know what I mean? When they fight stuff, because she has to lose.
Cozy Glow wasn't powerful. Cozy Glow was devious.
That's okay. That worked, right? That's how I think bad guys should work in this show now. But so far, we've only gotten one like that, and all the others have just been like magically powerful, and then not at the end. You know what I mean? It's like, look, I'm actually powerful than you, and then it's not explained.
For Tyrek, I can agree with that. I'm trying to remember the villains that filled the gap.
Starlight,
Starlight, yes, was definitely the kind of trying to just outclass in magic. But I would argue that Chrysalis wasn't that. Chrysalis was more deception fixing, where it's like
more setup.
because it was definitely like more cloak and dagger with Chrysalis. Like it was off screened a lot where we didn't get to see how it went down, but we know it went down, and it was obviously done quietly enough that Ponyville in general was not panicked.
I mean, why don't they have Bon Bon on that? I mean, seriously. By now, wouldn't you have somebody stalking him?
Yeah, and that was definitely a good way of showing how to deal with powerful characters, because of course for the Chrysalis and what happened with the Changelings, discord was among the would-be rescuers, and of course when it comes to raw power, we face a problem greater than even Celestia and Twilight, is that this is the guy that snaps his claws and changes reality in very fast ways. And so that definitely becomes a problem that became a well executed, putting a problem in front of the group that was actually a problem for the group, in that their goal was just to break Chrysalis's throne, and they believed after that everything else would be sorted out, because then Discord could use his magic and blah 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 blah. But the Changelings were very devious, and it's like the thousands of Fluttershies is like, can you be sure not one of us is the real one? It's like, oh, that was well played on their end.
I do have to hand it to them. They've handled it well in the season finales. I am surprised at how well they with this. I do have. It's not
that, and one of the most recurring villains that they have, which is ones that can't be dealt with just strong magic blasts, is the Flim Flam brothers.
They really like them, so they're coming more back now. I've noticed too. They were in hiatus for a bit, but recently they were even a special. We got like 3 episodes about them, basically.
But yeah, they represent a problem that has to be solved through the social interactions and the talking it out and whatnot. That can't be fixed by, we're going to magic it.
I would like to see more of that. What about you? Like more enemies that can't be beaten.
I do agree with that. I do believe the Flim Flams are a little bit overused at this point, especially since I personally didn't cast them as the super antagonists when they first appeared, because though they were being jerks, they're super speedy. That is the right word. Super speedy. The super speedy cider squeezy 6000 was a legitimate invention, and I actually touch on this a bit in the Road Home story for Past Senses, where they actually had something that was marketable, would have been used. They just were trying to get all the profit for themselves and were being buttheads. But when they got shut down like that, it's like Applejack, Twilight, and them actually shoved them from being conniving businessmen to full-on con ponies.
Yeah. I feel like some of the recent outings have been kind of weird, because they're on a weird section in a weird place for me, because a lot of times it's like, well, I don't see the problem with that, you know what I mean? Like, yes, it's not nice, but it's like, it's not illegal, or, you know. So, like, the recent one in the holiday special, it was kind of like,
the Hasbro mocking.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, it's like you're mocking yourself by that, you know? It's like, it's not nice, but it's not illegal, right? Whereas the other stuff, a lot of, in the recent one where they're in the casino and they were trying to set up the university, that was, like, totally fine, and it felt like they had to make up a problem for Twilight to be right, you know what I mean? Like there wasn't any problem up to like, oh wait, they're being evil by selling books. It's like, okay, you know what I mean? It was kind of weak for me.
That one did suffer a little bit of, the lesson of the episode could have been better if, like, in the regard of if they had just set up the legitimate university and it just bugged Twilight and she had to accept that they were teaching a different curriculum. That would definitely have been a very interesting way if they were able to pull it off. But at the same time, it did kind of lean into the we don't know if Twilight charges for her school. She may not, and then
government funded.
Yeah, exactly. It's a public private school. Anyway,
you have to be selected.
But at the same time, if that is all knowledge that Twilight is kind of prepared and meant to be available freely, them then charging for it definitely kind of puts them into a gray area where it's like, if you come to my school, even if you can't stay here for a semester or not, I'll just give you these worksheets. But no, they not only that, and they were even misrepresenting the information. It's like, oh, we just skip every other worksheet. It's like, that has to be super confusing. It's like it's a math course where worksheet 1, adding, worksheet 2, subtraction, worksheet 3, multiplication, worksheet 4, division. If you skip every other one, you are missing subtraction and division, and suddenly you are very underarmed,
for all
underprepared for basic math.
I look back, so I just paused for a sec and realized what we were talking about. Even it's like, this is be a kids show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we're getting into like what college curriculums are legal and what aren't in the copy around such a thing. It's like, so backing up and thinking, like, does this make a good episode? I think it's a bit too complicated. You know, there's good complication, but there's kind of like convoluted complication as well. I feel like a bit convoluted. Like, you have to work.
I do feel they did play the rarity thing where she was disguising for no reason, because thinking back, I could not think of a situation where she had reason to be fully properly acquainted with the Flim Flam brothers, so she literally was disguising for no good reason.
Yeah, there was a lot of that where it's like, okay, great, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, that whole episode kind of jumped around a lot for...
It definitely wasn't one of my favorite of that particular season, but it's still...
It wasn't awful.
Still, a meh episode of My Little Pony still beats a lot of shows that are targeting the same demographic.
Oh, not even close, yeah.
Well,
I mean... Oh, gosh. What happened there?
You didn't make a new layer.
I think I did, but did I draw on both layers somehow? Watch this. So it's on that one. It's on this one. But
and I don't know what you were doing.
Yeah, so this is the move tool, right?
Yes.
Move tool. Do you have to select an area?
No. You're selecting multiple layers, though, somehow.
Yeah, so, see, I can't move it. Oh, okay.
You're moving your mustache, by the way.
Which mustache? What?
The Rocket's mustache that's on that same layer, that's labeled on your layer.
Oops.
Let's just let's pretend that didn't happen. Thank you guys.
We can worry about the mustache later.
We'll worry about him later. Let's not talk about that. Yeah, okay, good idea. Yeah.
Back to
there's a context.
Back to the tabloid reporters. Colin, I think on something else. I think you also had something regarding their outcome in the story.
What is selected all the way down in this?
Probably more mustache.
Yeah, did I somehow miss you?
Yeah, I don't have anything in my notes about that.
Well, either way, you notice that's become a bit of a trait that antagonists are getting off quite lightly in stories.
It's hard to say.
I honestly don't remember about this one.
Yeah, they got off. I think they were okay. The punishments were pretty decent.
They were punished. I do recall that the main reporter got the worst of the punishments, while his fellow, who kind of knew when to quit,
Yeah.
kind of got off a bit not as bad. But
Yeah, I vaguely remember the other one, the more reasonable one, kind of not being featured again after the interrogation.
yeah, it's like he got the joyful punishment of being ignored. It's like, I didn't get to make a big name for myself, but I also didn't get in deep trouble.
Didn't go to jail. The best reward, to be honest. And I mean, several times they were probably jailable offenses. If I can remember correctly. Maybe I'm remembering.
But then again, our dear main six have probably done jailable defenses in the name of shenanigans.
What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. Probably. Is her haunch too close to her body? I can't tell. Maybe her belly. There you go. Maybe, yeah, she's just fat. No problem.
Was it from the start, or what did it come later? Was the tabloid punishment from the start, or did it come later?
The punishment for the tabloid ponies? That kind of just came up when I needed to figure it out. I didn't have that pre-planned.
Don't have to plan everything. I feel like the sister thing was added in, you know.
So you knew what would come of the cult members, but none of the...
Well, see, there's a slight difference there, because I needed to know the explanation so I could set it up for that moment. The punishment for the reporters is like, that would come when I knew the full breadth of the actions I was going to have them do in the story. So there's a slight difference there where it's like, that's a difference between knowing the consequences to the actions and the motivations to the actions. You do need to know the motivations for a character's actions before they do the action. You don't necessarily need to know the exact consequences of a particular action until you get closer to it.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, the punishment, it's not really plot critical, so thinking about that later seems more reasonable.
Yeah.
And even big movies nowadays, they have them. You don't really care too much what happened. Like in Ready Player One, like the main haunch bad guy, he gets put in a cop car, and that's all you see. You don't really care.
You know there's going to be judgment, but you don't need to know the full details of it.
Maybe you have a joke. He got punched, I think. Yeah. Is their hair too big, you think? If it comes down to there?
I was thinking, if they're on the rocket and it's falling, shouldn't the wind be blowing their hair back?
Yes, but you know what? I don't feel like doing that.
You didn't think about that, did you?
He'll do that when he's out of sketch phase.
Yeah, I did actually think of that, especially Twilight's could be the most obvious because it'd be like flipped up. You know what I mean? Because it's like her hair is like this if you look at it from the side. So it'd be kind of like that if it was being blown in the wind, and I really didn't want to figure out how that worked.
That's fair.
It's like the Derpy Burrow tag. No Peter because I'm lazy.
Exactly. I'm like Penstark said, I'll probably add in maybe hair ruffling and maybe some flares back to make it look like they're moving. Maybe, you know what? To keep this all canon, maybe I'll put like a purple aura around this, so it looks like, and Twilight with using her magic, so it looks like she's making like a bubble around them to protect them. And
that I think may hurt the picture more than help it, because that's you putting in something so you don't have to draw blown back mains.
Hey, they don't know that.
That then, well, anyone who listens to this will know that.
Okay, Alex, you can't post this.
And then you also then have to possibly tint the whole picture purple, which kind of ruins the composition a touch.
Yeah, you kind of lose the feel. You don't get the same effect.
I think it's
if anyone questions it, just say it's magic. That explains everything.
Or gel.
I'd say
is Starlight's size okay? Maybe her leg is a bit small. How's the overall composition? Oh, the rip in piece. That's what. Oh, that was on the Starlight layer. And yeah, that's a messy layer. You gotta watch me erase this.
Where the brains are my face. Colin, is there a question you can probably come up with without the need for any, well, reminders per se?
Oh yeah, I actually got at least one down. So, how do you feel about how Nyx has been accepted by the fandom since she's basically become one of those breakout fandom characters?
Well, that depends who you ask. Some people really don't like her, but it's like I'm very happy that the story resonated with folks enough that they were so fond of Nyx that they kind of headcanoned her into their own version of Equestria.
She's kind of fanon, sort of.
Yeah.
Well, popular enough to get several film fiction groups.
True that. True that.
That's kind of rare in any fandom, really, that a fan character gets some notoriety. I mean, enough for other people to write about it. Yeah. Star Wars and stuff, it's rare. You know, people usually like to make up their own random stuff. Or, you know...
Star Destroyer.
Oh, that's my... Guys. He's got eyes like this. And his helmet's like this. See, it's different. And then there's a line down
that looks
back.
like Manta Ray from SpongeBob.
Manta Ray. Oh my gosh! Have you seen that? Somebody took the new Aquaman trailer, right? And instead of Aquaman, they put Mermaid Man. It's amazing. The editing quality is perfect. They even got lines from the shows. Oh, okay. After the stream is over, I gotta show you that. It's amazing.
I was just thinking that on the Aquaman poster, replacing Aquaman with Adam Sandler.
That's very specific.
He's
Waterboy.
He was Waterboy, yeah.
Oh, okay. I just didn't get the context. He's like, I don't want to be called Barnacle Boy. I want to be called Barnacle Man.
Yes, the 90s, back when Adam Sandler movies were actually good.
Took too many gigs, you think?
He fell too much into a niche role, I think.
Wasn't creative.
I find comedy actors tend to decline in quality if they keep doing comedy and not branch out for too long.
Well, that and it was always kind of the same character. Is the
True.
thing. It's like you can definitely have comedy actors who do multiple comedies, but Robin Williams is a good example. He did do some serious work, but he did have a lot like. There's a vast difference between Mrs. Doubtfire and like Flubber or something.
True.
was. I think he passed away, coming up on 5 years now?
That's Applejack right here. I'm done, guys. I didn't need to try. Oh, we need Fluttershy too. Sorry. Hang on, let me add that.
Yeah, I could just imagine Fluttershy just contemplating how she got herself into this situation.
Maybe she's being drug along by one of the tail fins.
Oh, she could be holding on to Rainbow Dash's tail. What do we see? What do you think? I thought about putting her up here. Somehow, like, closing her eyes, you know, putting with her hooves over her eyes or something.
But then how is she keeping up with the rocket?
Yeah. That, or I take these guys, scooch them forward a bit. But it might get a little squished, you know what I mean?
They're
Yeah, you
on
already
a
have this.
It's think of it like the flume ride at a amusement park. You're squished together no matter what on those things.
Yeah. Maybe she's, like, somehow upside down riding it. Like,
She
she's
could be-
slid down.
She could be clinging to it to dear life.
Oh, yeah! That might be funny. Like, yeah, like right here, sort of. With her hooves.
Yeah, use some of the underutilized white space there.
Yeah.
I could honestly see you letting her have where Rainbow Dash is and have Rainbow Dashes flying along in the space where you were considering for Fluttershy, because she could at least keep up.
Oh. So have her upside down, Fluttershy, right in, well, like, kind of in this area. Holding on. And then have Dashy right here, up here.
Yeah.
That would make sense, yeah. I thought about putting her, like, here and pushing. But I kind of felt like that'd mess up the composition of...
That, and she'd get...
That looks like a very viable spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit roasty.
And yet you have the marshmallow closest to the fire.
It was all in my plan. How did she should be roasting a bit, just a little burnt on her ear. I think that'd be a bit too dark.
Getting back to OCs, second only to Snowdrop, which only Sarcasm and I covered previously.
Sorry. I just keep thinking of the marshmallow. Oh.
Anyway, gents, did you have any more questions?
Trying to think. I guess maybe I haven't read much of your continued story, but it does interest me. Going to continue writing about this story, or is it kind of rounded out? I don't quite know the ending.
That all depends on whether or not I have a good idea for it.
Okay.
It's like I don't ever feel like I should commit to a sequel or any new sequel material unless I kind of know where to take the character next, because one could argue Nyx at her current age has kind of been through the ringer enough, so maybe I need to jump forward in time a bit. But then that kind of brings with it a lot of qualms and whatnot, and it's like, if I'm going to do something that big, maybe I should wait till season 9 is over and the final confirmation that that's the final season.
So you can just kind of work with finished content.
Yeah, that's the one dubious risk I always kind of am about putting something too far in the future is like a story like Past Sins, I can say because of how it was written, it happened between particular seasons, which is why certain things were the way they were. But if I do something like Teenage Nyx or something like that, then I have to, if there's something that blows the story up that happens in season 9, well then I'm doomed from the start. There's no there's no hand waving that as it'll happen later.
Oh, do you think anything like that will be actually added to the show?
I never try to predict what will bomb my fan fiction and what will validate it.
I'm feeling like I feel like the main character are kind of almost done developing. We even got Spike, sort of.
But yeah, but for example, like stories who wrote Spike without wings got shot in the foot in this past season, and I doubt they would have seen that coming. And at the same time, stories that wrote Spike as growing wings when he got older were suddenly totally validated.
And some weren't, because if they had it way later, you know, if he's like much bigger and he gets wings.
Yeah, so it's like, it's like I got spoiled Diamond Tiara's mother's personality right, but I got her name wrong. Or I used the fandom names for Pinkie Pie's sisters, and now I'm kind of locked into that unless I go back and edit them where they were. Even though we now know that we now know they're Maud, Limestone, and Marble. Back when the fandom had named them after the Pac-Man ghosts.
Fun times.
Dark ages.
But yeah, so it's like I never try to predict how the story, how the show could support or bomb my fanfiction, because that's worrying too much about the future. That's worrying about the volcano that will get you in the head when the earthquake may be what get you. So just gotta play in the playground as it is currently, which is with what we know up to season 8.
And are you willing to do that? Because I mean, after a certain point of worrying about it, you just have to say, well, if I want to. Well,
that's why I haven't. That's why I haven't changed past sins in years.
Yeah,
it's just like it's done. You got to be willing to let. That's something that you have to do. Is you have to be willing to let go of a story, be done with it, so that you can move on to other material.
You have to, like, even with my art, usually if I spend, I could add to spend another hour shading stuff, but I don't feel like that. Basically, same thing.
Yeah, you got it. Nothing will ever be perfect. You just have to be satisfied with it at the time, and then learn from the things you notice later on.
That's a good point. Are there other stories you have in the work? Off topic.
I just had 2 stories I put out recently that, so I don't currently have anything in the.
Okay.
I have Elixir Master, which I posted over in December, and then I did my Jinglemas story for Monochromatic at the same time, so it was a little.
Yeah, I hadn't checked. Sorry, I haven't had a lot of time.
That's totally fine. I'm not expecting to have checked.
I have college and work and doing this, so it's like
real life is far more important. So you have your priorities straight.
Some say you say that now.
But so yeah, I don't know what I'd be writing next, but I do hope I can find the next thing relatively soon.
You sticking with the fandom, probably?
At least for a while longer.
Not burning out on you.
Each new season definitely helps. Kind of.
And what would you say about season Gen 5? Is it you're leaving it up in the air? Some people have already made their guess.
I would have never guessed I would have liked season 4. So it's like you never know what you're gonna like until you try it. So you got to be willing to give things their fair shake.
Very true. Very true.
Like I don't know what you've seen on Netflix, but like the things that caught me off guard that I really liked on Netflix was Agra, Suko, and what was the other one that caught me off guard? Voltron.
I haven't tried that.
It's like Agrasuko is just delicious adult situations and humor and tiny, cute Hello Kitty style characters. It's actually from the same company that like has the controlling trademark on my Hello Kitty. But then Voltron is like, yeah, it's got the forming lions, but it plays out like a epic space opera.
Nice.
So
I've seen something like that for me recently. I've never been interested that much that IP, and I went and saw Bumblebee that just came out, and that was really good. I liked it quite a lot.
That was something I was laughing because I have seen Aquaman and it was really good. But at the same time, for the longest time, Aquaman was the joke character for a lot of people on Justice League.
Yeah.
And suddenly now he has the best movie of the DCU.
Yeah. I see. So, I think it's a lot of just the tone they're taking. A lot of these superhero stuff and all these action ones is they take themselves too seriously.
Yeah, no, DC definitely suffers from that a bit. Wonder Woman definitely fit well with the taking itself seriously motif, but
Okay.
which is kind of why it went so well, and Aquaman kind of hit the right tone at the same time. But the thing that Marvel has learned that DC is still struggling with is sometimes you need to have the humor in the situation, the innate humor in the situations. I mean, that's why Guardians of the Galaxy did so well. Is that was definitely not nearly as serious as some of their other things they've done.
I would also like to point out that the characters are more relatable. Like, with the Batman, it's like no one's really a superhero, supervillain with millions of dollars and like complexes like that. Whereas,
well, I would argue that you can still have really good stories with those characters can still be related. The thing I would say is when it comes to the stories around Batman, Superman, and all that stuff, DC's animated features have generally been better, in my opinion. Like the Batman Returns 2 movies. Those were really good.
I haven't had time to watch it.
Oh, The Return of Batman, I think is, or whatever. Google, don't fail me now.
Power.
Yes, so the Batman: The Dark Knight Returns is a pair of movies that DC put out, and that whole thing, which is based on a comic series about a retired Batman, basically after he's been retired for 15 years or something like that, and kind of having to deal with the modern era where people aren't putting up with superheroes anymore. It kind of rings some of the same tones like The Incredibles.
Okay, yeah.
But definitely I would recommend that as being better than like Batman versus Superman. And though it is also what inspired Batman versus Superman, the movie. So
yeah, they
it's definitely the same story. But the one thing I will say, guys, is I am kind of running out of the time I allotted for this. I got a couple other things to do tonight. So any final questions?
I think we got most of them, didn't we?
You mentioned you had two going. You mentioned you had two going the front. You mentioned you had two going the past month, and it got me curious. How hard was it on you?
I had to crunch a little bit for the one for Jinglemas just because it snuck up on me as I was taking care of. It's like work was really busy, and I was trying to prepare for going to see my family over the holiday and whatnot, and all that song and dance. So it snuck up on me, but I met with the help of a couple friends providing some last moment editing and whatnot. I was able to get her done.
Nice.
like a college student on a term paper. It's due at midnight. I sent that in at 11:50.
Oh no, not even 11:50.
11:59 and 50 seconds.
Oh, I've actually done that before. I'm not even joking.
So
and it didn't count it. Sorry.
So to compare that with when Ace Fest had 3 bonus racks going when the 100th episode came out.
Sorry, was that a question directed at me? I didn't hear it.
Yes, cut out a bit.
It's kind of hard. It was mostly a comment. It's kind of hard to compare that with when AC Race Fest had 3 bonus reacts going episode went upon the arrival of episode 100.
I haven't read it yet. I'll need to go through it and get my opinion.
Bronies React, that's a YouTube.
Ah. I don't think I've watched that either. I'm behind, to be honest. It snuck up on me. It's even worse than you, I think, Panstark. I'm like out of it. I've done the shorts at least.
Well, that just means you need this cozy up some weekend and catch up and
I know.
have fun.
Oh, dang. I need to speculate for the next season to be wrong on everything.
Also, I can definitely remember when these guys were like, I need to adjust my mind to remember that this was when Twilight Twilight was still a unicorn and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, reset where the story is. I had that problem with when you sent me Past Sins. I was like, wait, when was this written? Checking up, I'm like, oh, it was written like way before everything. That's kind of another thing of me scared to do. That's got me scared to do a fan fiction is like, yeah, it won't be correct in the future. Yeah, but anyway, I think that was most of the questions. That was a lot of fun.
Well, thank you again for having me, guys, and hope this drawing turns out well.
I do as well. I'm about as lost as you are, probably.
Certainly glad I got this weight. Certainly glad I could finally get this weight off my shoulder. And also, before I forget, even though I've already said it in text at least, happy late birthday.
Thank you very much.
What? Your birthday's coming up. Happy birthday.
Actually, it
Came in.
passed.
Yeah, came in
Passed.
late.
Well, it's actually coming up anyways. It's always coming up. So I am still correct. I will fight and die on this hill.
That's another thing that's always coming up.
I mean, anything that happens once, except for when it happens.
Anyway, I'm gonna sign off, guys. Thank you again for having me. I hope you enjoyed the interview and whatnot, and keep on keeping on.
Well, thank you for stopping by to our little humble podcast. Maybe it'll help us grow. I don't know.
Who knows? All right. Have a good night.
Good night. Good night.
So, yeah. So, and slightly related to the show news, I actually finally got around to seeing Mary Poppins Returns.
Nice.
Got around to it.
Yeah, it's apparently after on New Year's Day, everyone wanted to go see it, so it's like, yeah, sure. A bit late, but whatever.
I still have not done that because I've done a lot of action movies, like Transformers, or Bumblebee technically, which I would highly suggest watching if you like classical action movies. The action was like something you could watch, unlike most action movies right now, where it's just freaking stuff is flying everywhere. It's shaky cam and
An explosion!
Yeah. I like explosions, but I like them to be framed and in a viewable distance, not on me and out of focus. So,
I think
that was a huge.
I think that was a major plague of previous movies. Anyway, Sarcasm, I think you've seen it.
The story of the lonely traveler. She helps those in need, but must be sure not to get too attached because she knows she will always have to part soon.
Classic. Just like cheese sandwich.
Because you could tell it's like she really didn't want to leave, but she knew it was her time to leave.
Same thing.
You get what I mean?
Same thing kind of happens. Same thing kind of happens in the first one, whereas this one was a door closing. The last one is the wind changing.
Right. Yeah, it was a good movie.
Yes.
But yeah, like during the interview, back when like the bit with the whole skipping lessons, like skipping subtraction and division, I wanted to say something along the lines of like, oh well, whoever put that together must have been an optimist because it's all positive.
But anyways, I think I might have to call it. I know it's not that late, but I'm pretty tired already. What were you gonna say?
That's like that's okay. It's like we had like a different kind of show tonight, so you know.
Yeah, I'm kind of also arted out. Like I'm. My it's getting worse. And it's like I don't want to make a mistake where I have to undo a bunch of stuff. I think it's good. I think we got really far though. We got 3 characters out of the necessary 7, I guess. So
wait, did you do Rainbow Dash this time too?
Well, yeah, most of her body.
Oh, right.
Her head I did off screen with a friend for that. And to be honest, I think that's my favorite so far. It just came out really crisp. Nice and sharp, and she looks very determined.
Good progress, got a lot accomplished. Next week, now that I finally got this particular weight off my shoulders, we can finally go to the backup plan that I had if today didn't happen.
Yes, the season 4 premiere.
Yeah, it's like it's a new year, and I was like, didn't that technically happen? Isn't that technically saying that a year has passed now?
Guess so.
I have to double check. I think only one set of holiday episodes happened at that point, so I think that's about right.
All right, that sounds like a plan.
But good to be going. But yeah, it'll be going back into episode territory. It'll be good to be going back into episode territory, and hopefully we will see you next week for that. Take care.
Later,
Take care, guys.